What up, dude bros? I'm Frank. I'm here to talk about magazines. I often get the question, hey Frank, what is the best magazine and why? The answer to this question is the same as most important questions in life. It depends. So I'm going to overview a few of the magazines I have in the studio to explain my mentality when I approach choosing a magazine so you can make your own decision. I'm not here to tell you which one is best. It's just a pro-con battle, like everything in the world, so you can weigh those pros and cons for yourself to make that decision. But to summarize this internal battle or balance between the best magazines, it's typically between size and capacity. We want it to be really small, but we also want a really high capacity magazine. Unfortunately, when you're carrying ammo, it requires space. So as you boost your capacity, you're also boosting your size. Example, 35 round drum magazine, 6 round standard magazine. The drum has a massive capacity compared to the dinky 6. Does that mean it's better? Absolutely not. What if you need a really slim, low profile blaster? This is not slim and low profile. Maybe by American standards, but come on. Yeah, an American just made an American fat joke. Deal with it. Compared to the super slim 6 round mag. Contributing factors that I think you should include in your analysis when you're balancing size and capacity. First, what blaster are you using? Is it something with a super slow rate of fire where you're not going to be firing that much even if you wanted to? You can use a lower capacity magazine because you won't blow your whole load super fast. If you're using a modified rapid strike and you can just spit out 35 darts in 2 seconds, you're going to want to keep a higher capacity magazine and a lot of them on your body to reload. Tightly connected to what blaster you're using, your play style. Are you the trigger happy type of nerfer who wants to spew as much foam as possible? Like this guy, I love firing as much as I possibly can, so I carry higher capacity magazines. BT Dubs spoiler, 18 round stick mag that's clear, that's my go-to. If you spew foam all over the place using 6 round magazines, you're just going to be spending most of the time reloading, and that's no fun. Next consideration, blaster balance. This is an 18 round stick mag in a strife, and it's fairly balanced. Compared to the drum, it has suboptimal balance here. It's a little harder to very quickly point around. It's less wieldy. And I'm not saying the 18 round stick mag is the most wieldy. If you move to a 6 round, that's super small, super fast, and the balance is phenomenal because it's crazy light. Next, do you want to carry extra magazines of the same type on your body? This breaks down to mission duration, again, how much ammo you think you'll be shooting with rate of fire wise and what the mission specs are. If it's a house war and you've built a bunker over here and your buddy's on the other side behind couches or whatever, you could have a pile of drums just sitting in the corner if you have like 50 of these. But you don't have to carry those 50 magazines on your body in gear and whatnot. If you're an HVZer and you're running around a university campus carrying 50 drums, I'd like to see a photo of that. Not only will it be unwieldy, it'll also be very loud, all of those things smacking around, so you might gravitate towards a smaller stick mag. And both of these have the same capacity of 10 rounds. This one's a banana mag. And because they have a different shape, they're gonna fit into different pouches with different ergonomics and comfort. So if you already have your tactical gear picked out, are you going to want a straight mag that's much more space efficient, or do you want the tactical curve for the tactics? Especially when you introduce these Doomlands blasters with all this unnecessary nonsense all over the place. It looks cool, sure, but if you have 10 of these on your body, are you going to get annoyed by catching these lips on stuff? Since I mentioned tactics, that's totally a thing to consider here when you have the worker magazines that look tactical as f***. I mean, come on, that looks sick. It looks like a P-mag. Now they have hex mags. And these giant magazines, I mean, is the appearance important to you? And how much so? Because I think these banana mags go for like $22 each, which is a lot. Transition to cost, it's a consideration for all consumers. If you're only buying one, you could totally splurge on the drum. But if you need to have 300 rounds loaded or whatever, it might be more economical to lean towards a magazine that's more widely available on the market. Like this clear mag, a lot of people say, hey Frank, how do you have so many of these? I bought a whole bunch of rapid strikes. That's how I have these. Nerf sells them in orange, the 18 round stick mag with 18 darts, which is pretty cool. And I think those are only like $11, I think, which I feel is a pretty fair price. But if you want the clear ones and you have to have it completely clear, that might cost a little extra collecting those on eBay or something. So those are most of the considerations I personally make before choosing a magazine or sort of drawing an opinion on one of the magazines I see. Of course, my opinion is going to be different because I use different blasters. I use them differently than a lot of other nerfers. And my body and my gear is also larger because I'm almost 6'4", so carrying a bunch of these on my body isn't a big deal. If you're 9 or 10 years old and have a really small torso, or relative to my monster torso, carrying these might be all up in your face, blocking your shoulders and the ability to shoot. So you might have to use the 10 round magazines to have them by ratio the same size to your body compared to mine. Bonus points if a 9-year-old could carry 50 of these. Bonus points if anybody other than Dwayne Johnson could carry 50 of these. He could do it. He can do anything. I'm revealing my man crush. So that's a very vague overview of the elements, so you could decide for yourself. Those are just things to think about. I'm not trying to tell you which ones are best because a lot of it's based on cosmetics and what you want your blaster to look like, which is perfectly reasonable, especially if you only have one magazine and you don't have to scale it up. If you're an HVZer and you're out for an all-day mission or all-night mission, you have to carry so much ammo on you, it really becomes a space crunch. You can't even consider drums because they're too bulky and you can't move fast enough. For those players, the higher capacity flat magazines like these, 18-round stick mag, 22-round worker mag, might be better options. And based on cost, I think the orange version of these are about $12 compared to 20-something, 22, 23. Since most college kids don't want to, double the cost for very little gain, the 18-round stick mag might be the better option. But now I'll go over the magazines I have in my studio here. This is not every magazine available. A big enough sample here to kind of illustrate the concepts that are out here. Starting with the drums. 25-round drum, 35-round drum. This one is symmetrical on the front plane. This one is not. It's offset. Advantage, disadvantage. The symmetry here makes it feel better balanced when it's inside your blaster and you're shooting, pointing it at people. For the 35-round drum, I have carried one of these during an HVZ mission, and because this line is almost, well, it's not really, but it's nearly tangent to the side here, it can click into a pouch and rest flat against your body, where this one will always be angled and it's a little weird. And being a drum configuration, it's a lot shorter. 22-round capacity, 25, much longer, but much flatter and smaller. 6-round magazines, yellow, orange, from the original long shot from all sorts of crap blasters. I don't really like the 6-round magazines. If space is that big a deal to you that you can't have a reasonably sized magazine, you might choose a cylinder gun instead. Probably going to give you a smaller profile with the same capacity if you can't use a bigger magazine. And for HVZ games that restrict players to 6-round magazines for the first day, you suck. You should feel bad about yourself. Find a different handicap for your game, you plebes. Expecting college kids to have 2 separate rigs, one for early game and one for late game. Come on, guys. You gotta cut the rant before it starts. Boom, not gonna rant. Can't get angry right now. Both of these are 10-round magazines, straight mag, bendy, or banana mag. Advantages, space efficiency, tactics. Oh yeah. Some blasters also look better with straight mag, so I can't say it's always cosmetically cooler to have a banana mag. Like the Raven, I think it looks sweet with straight mags. I think it looks kind of silly with banana mags. That might just be me. This is the 12-round magazine. It's like the 10-round, but longer because it holds 2 more. I should not have worn an orange shirt. I regret that. I think 12-round magazines are far more common in blasters like the Retaliator, and I think a lot more blasters have it. But it's nice that Nerf is giving us more options just in case 10-round for whatever reason is better for your needs. Then the 18-round stick mag. It's much longer, much higher capacity obviously, but if you're running a belt rig with magazines along your side, the 18-round stick mags can get too long and they can begin flopping outward. These are somewhat tricky to keep on vests, and you need a particular loadout, and you need to kind of change the way you move with your gear and blasters when you have a lot of these magazines on your body. I don't run fast anyway, so I don't really care, and I shoot way too much during Nerf wars. I don't care that it's inefficient and a waste of foam. It's just fun for me to go and try to load like 10 darts onto one person. It makes me happy to see one guy get hit like 3 or 4 times. Goofy magazines in the Doomland series. Tactical little add-ons. They look cooler, but again, if you're trying to scale up to have a bunch of magazines on your body, not as practical. And I don't know if they sell either of these separately right now. Didn't mention Rival yet. 12-round mag, 6-round mag. For the most part, I would recommend sticking with the 12-round magazines because these work with all of the blasters. The 6-round mags work with most of the blasters, but I think like the Atlas and the Zeus, this won't lock in, so it won't feed properly. And the 6-round capacity, if you're in a rival game or a game that allows rival blasters, now that the Nemesis is out, the 12-round magazine, it's going to be difficult to compete with the 6-round. You're really not going to have a chance unless it's like a backup pistol or something. And the Apollo's way too big to be considered a backup, like in a holster. Then the Chaos magazine. I mean, these things are huge. The only way I could carry extras of these are in dump pouches, and they flop around like crazy. I think a 50 caliber magazine is about the same size or even maybe a little bit smaller. So it's harder to find pouches for something of this size without just using a utility pouch to fit it in there. But that type of pouch isn't going to fit as tightly, so it's going to flop when you're running. Why you're using a Chaos when the Nemesis is out, I have no idea. Problem solved, go buy a Nemesis. Now to aftermarket magazines. Now there are a few different sellers on Amazon I have not yet explored. All of these are made by Worker. And so far I've had excellent experiences with all of them. They look great, they feed great. The follower springs in most of these blasters are actually stronger than the Nerf blasters, which can give you feeding hiccups in some unique blasters or when you're doing certain modifications, but for the most part they're going to last longer. I've had a number of these 18-round stick mags for like a decade now. I'm probably exaggerating, but only by a little. And the springs will eventually wear out. It takes a while for them to wear out, but it is worth noting. So if you have a stronger spring in the get-go that feeds fine, the stronger spring, even if it depletes at the same rate, it'll be usable for a longer period of time. 12-round PMag, I think it looks cool. 15-round Hex Mag, capacity of 15, it's a little bit longer and it has a slightly different like texture. Hex Mag comes in orange and black. These are 15-round Banana Mags. 15-round Hex Mag, 15-round Banana Mag. Banana Mag's bigger. for whatever reason. But these are modeled more like the In-Strike magazines, so they don't look like Hex mags or P mags, they just look like In-Strike mags. And this one's pink, which I think is cool. And I think they have more colors available. Now to these big monsters. These are 22 round banana mags, which are awesome. Just a gentle curve there, not a completely straight mag. And they have a few different colors, lightly smoke, complete blackout, orange, and clear, maybe more by now. Worker is constantly pumping out new products, so I don't know that I'd ever say they don't offer this, because that'd only be an updated video for like a week until they banged it out. So that's just an overview of what I have in my studio. That's a good representation of what's out there. But again, not all of them. I'm not claiming I have everything. Still going to be 17 comments. Coop, you forgot that. So that's the series overview. Now to my top picks. So I have two lists here. One, top picks, pure performance. This is guided more towards HVZers, people trying to fling foam competitively. It's the type of person who carries more magazines on their body because they're going through a larger war, or just a 10-minute war without taking your finger off the trigger. Number one, 18-round stick mag. I like them in clear, but I think they're widely available right now in orange. It's a space-effective way to carry a lot of ammo that's very well balanced, so it doesn't hinder your ability to fire when it's in your blaster. And it's scalable. I think I carry 6 on my rig when I play. Number two, Worker, 22-round banana mag. Very similar in performance and overall size. I like this for the same reasons. High capacity, easy to stack a bunch of them up, and it's well balanced when it's inside the blaster. And last, the 12-round magazine, because sometimes the 18 rounds are just, they are bigger. When you have a bunch of them on your body, it is more cumbersome to move with the 18-round stick mag, so the 12-round, I totally get why a lot of people use these in HVZ and those types of game types. That is pure performance, top picks. Now, top picks, tactics. If you only need like 2, maybe 3 magazines and you don't have like a full vest or something, you're just carrying a few extras, and the appearance of your blaster is also super important. A tactics list here. First, 10-round banana mag, widely available all over the place, including Amazon. They look pretty cool in most blasters. Smaller capacity, but it's also smaller and more tactical. So it's totally fun to use those. And number two, very closely related, the Worker PMag, which is very similar, but it has a capacity of 12 instead of 10. I could just repeat myself or say all the same reasons. Boom, done. So those are my top picks for magazines, hopefully answering the question, hey Frank, what magazine is best and why? As you can see, the answer is it depends. I can't really tell you what is best. I can tell you what my preference is, but without fully explaining myself, I don't want to mislead somebody into thinking this is great when the person asking me is like 8 years old, very small, and wants to carry a bunch of mags. That might give you a hard time because you're small. No issue with being small, but you might just downsize your magazine as well. Would I ever use a big drum? Not in any game type where I'm carrying, like moving around rapidly, like an outdoor war where it's not my property, or if I can't drop it like in my house. I just wouldn't want the burden of that, especially after it's empty. Then it's a big piece of plastic that's not going to serve any purpose as far as defeating other humans goes. An empty magazine is worthless. It only has value if it has ammo already loaded. In the moment, not in between games when you're loading up and stuff. So not for those games, but for like house wars, if I want to spend the time to load it up, I may. But I've also had reliability issues with the drums, and now that they have like the 22-round stick mag, it's so much easier to load this that I might just grab 2 of those instead of a drum. I don't know. So would I use that? Yes and no. You guys digging the decisiveness here? So, magazine overview concluded. If I missed anything, leave your comments or questions in the section below. Hopefully I help you out selecting magazines for your own foam flinging battles. That's this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'm out of breath. And as always, stay tactical.